Even by Formula One's turbocharged standards, a month is a long time. Lewis Hamilton and his Mercedes team openly declared themselves possibly out of championship contention this season after perhaps the worst performance of his career in Imola last month, a race in which he was passed by Red Bull rival Max Verstappen. The team had ruled themselves right back in after an astonishing Spanish Grand Prix on Sunday, in which Hamilton rallied from a first-lap puncture to finish fifth due to what team president Toto Wolff termed as the fastest car in the race. What an eventful day, and what a season we may suddenly be in for. However, Red Bull's team principal is concerned about Mercedes' renewed pace. Should he be worried? We will discuss this and many more in today's video, so stick with me till the end of the video. Verstappen won the race comfortably in the end, guiding Red Bull to a 1-2 finish and displacing Ferrari's Charles Leclerc at the top of the driver standings when he was forced to withdraw due to a power failure. The main talking topic, though, was certainly Mercedes' continuous resurgence, as their encouraging performance in practice and qualifying on Friday and Saturday transferred into race pace. George Russell finished third, battling the Red Bulls bravely for half the race before their superior performance told, and maintaining his record as the only driver to finish in the top 5 at every race this season. Because of his consistency, the 24-year-old is only 36 points behind Verstappen in the title. Following the first-lap accident with Haas' Kevin Magnussen, Hamilton drove a stunning race. His disadvantage is far larger than Russell's at 64 points, but Mercedes is beginning to believe, and that is the goal. Their porpoising issues appear to be resolved, and they can now concentrate on unlocking the car's potential. Can we fight for a world championship? We bet we can, Wolff said. We have reasons to believe we can get there. If you look at the standings, it is very hard to imagine, but motor racing is a different ballgame. We've seen today that Ferrari didn't score a lot of points when they should have. We will push flat out to bring us back into the game. Hamilton's comeback was even the more impressive, given that he had instructed his staff to withdraw him after 5 laps. "I would save this engine, guys, if I were you," said the 7-time world champion forlornly. "I am sorry." After his romp through the field, even Hamilton looked a bit sheepish about that bit of advice. "I wasn't being defeatist," he insisted. "I was 30 seconds behind the rest of the field, and I thought if I was going to use a whole engine to drive around out of the top 15, I thought we might as well save the engine and live to fight another day. I'm glad we didn't. It just shows that you never stop, never give up." Following Miami's Celeb Fest, this was a far less star-studded occasion. However, there were still a few beautiful people on the grid. With the ambient temperature hovering at 36 degrees Celsius at the start of the race and track temperatures reaching 50 degrees Celsius, their cosmetic surgery was at grave risk of melting. It was brutally hot, with tire deterioration being the primary subject of talk before the race. The racing activity on the track was similarly intense, at least in the opening part of the race. Russell, who started 4th, passed Ferrari's Carlos Sainz, who got away slowly from 3rd. And after a slight scare when he was hit by Sergio Perez's Red Bull, who had been clipped by Sainz, the Briton was on his way. Behind him, Hamilton was struck by Kevin Magnussen's Haas as the Dane attempted to pass him around the outside of Turn 4 on his first lap. Magnussen was rightfully sent flying into the gravel trap, but Hamilton was left with a puncture and a lengthy, lonely journey back to the pits. His race appeared to be finished, but he was grateful that the crew persuaded him to continue. Hamilton might have finished 4th if his Mercedes had not hobbled home with a water leak on the power unit, forcing Hamilton to relinquish the place he had just taken with a spectacular move around the outside of Turn 1. The race ahead of Hamilton was dependent on Leclerc's withdrawal. On lap 27, he had completed his first pit stop without incident and was in relative cruise control when his power unit failed. It sparked a fascinating duel between Russell and the Red Bulls, which Verstappen and Perez finally won owing to their better performance. But not before Verstappen became very heated and disturbed by difficulties with his DRS flap, which refused to open. And not without some intra-team drama, with Perez upset over having to give way to Verstappen, who was following a different plan. "That's very unfair, but okay," replied the Mexican when asked to do so by his pit wall. "Thank you, mate," Verstappen said on his radio as he passed. Verstappen eventually won his 4th race of the season, earning him the championship lead for the first time in 2022. The Dutch driver will travel to Monaco next weekend with a 6-point lead over Leclerc. Mercedes, on the other hand, will travel with renewed vigor. "We probably had the fastest race car today in Lewis," Wolff mused. "It was critical for both his and our morale. He appeared to be driving a championship-winning race vehicle. The race car and the driver reminded me of last year and previous years." Wolff warned that Monaco might not be the circuit to fight for a maiden win this season, citing the team's poor record there and the car's lackluster performance in slow-speed bends in Barcelona. He also stated that Mercedes had only halved the one-lap gap between Red Bull and Ferrari. However, with 16 races remaining, Mercedes has plenty of time to get back into this. Lewis Hamilton had to work his way through the pack following a puncture on the opening lap due to a collision with Kevin Magnussen. However, Hamilton was one of the fastest drivers on the circuit throughout the race, and Horner was not surprised by Mercedes' result. "They're getting themselves back into this championship," said Horner. "I've said from race 1 that they're a very, very strong team. They've got great strength and depth, and you can see they've made a big step this weekend, that it's been a positive weekend for them. We don't underestimate any of our rivals, and I think Ferrari had a horrible day today, but their pace again was very, very strong this weekend, so I think it's only going to get tighter." Horner also had to deal with some internal concerns following the race with Perez. The Mexican racer was dissatisfied with being forced to hand over the race lead to Verstappen, and while Horner sympathized with his driver, he feels his team made the correct choice to let Verstappen pass. "I think the problem that we had is, we could see, as I think with other cars, we'd got temperatures raging, water, oil, brakes, and the last thing you want to risk is a DNF when you've got two cars that potentially nail a 1-2, Horner explained. They were on different strategies, so it wasn't a straight fight. Max had such a tire advantage, and of course, Chico's tires wouldn't have made it, we don't think, to the end. And that's why he pitted towards the end of the race to get that valuable fastest lap as well. Our responsibility is to bring the cars home with as many points as we can," added Horner. And of course, what Chico couldn't see at the time, and I think he will see perfectly well now, is that he had such a long stint to do on that medium tire, and Max such a tire advantage from a team perspective. There is just no point in taking that risk with an intermittent DRS with temperatures ranging up and down, so it was the right thing to do. Sergio Perez was irritated when he was forced to let Verstappen pass for the lead. Horner responded by saying he understood Perez's emotions and that he planned to address the matter openly with his driver. "Look, we discuss it openly," said Horner. "I think he'll see the race plot. He'll see that he had close to 30 laps to do on that medium tire, which in the end we needed to pit to make sure we covered Russell. So in the heat of the moment, you can understand, he's a racing driver. If he wasn't pushing those things, he is not doing a job." Barbs were traded between Mercedes and Red Bull, as well as Toto Wolff and Christian Horner throughout the 2021 season, and Horner has provided his perspective on Mercedes in the lead-up to this season, implying that there are fundamental disparities between the two teams. The fundamental differences are that Mercedes is a team that has evolved over the years and grown to such a scale that it is a very well-oiled machine across all of its functions on track, off track, politically and media-wise, whereas we have retained the essence of a race team. When you turn up at our factory in Milton Keynes, your sole purpose is working for the race team to improve the car and achieve the best results we can. You have to be prepared to move quickly, and you've got to be able to react quickly, not be afraid to speak up, not be afraid to speak your mind. We are a bit more of a maverick than any other team, and that is why Mercedes have not been able to control us. Do you think Mercedes has a chance to compete in the top spot this season? Leave your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you for staying with me till the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, like and share the video. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon. Bye!